I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
I knew it. I love when he does that.
Wrestling has more than one royal family.
Gentlemen, in my soul, something, something, Cody Rhodes. Let it out again. I'm the tribal chief around here. Yeah, you see me, the tribal chief. That's right.
Time. But let me go ahead and tell you.
Shut your bitch ass up.
How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode 468 of the Hoots Podcast here on this Thursday, June 5th, 2025. Hope everybody's doing well. Lots of stuff to get to this week is we got another big weekend of wrestling ahead out in California. It's usually in the Ferris brother Adam, aka Joshie Lopez. Make sure to do me a quick favor. If you're watching the Hoots Podcast right now, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe on our YouTube channel as we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Currently, we're at 552, and I appreciate each and every single one of you. But most importantly, if we can get to 1,000, that would be awesome. That way, the podcast can become a partner on YouTube. Also, you can follow me on X if you like at the Hoots Podcast. Instagram is at Josh Lopez Music. Make sure to hit me up there as well. This podcast comes to you free of charge anywhere you get your podcast from every single Friday. To start off your weekend, you can listen to the podcast before SmackDown. You can listen to it throughout the week before Raws and PLEs take place. I'm very proud of what we've been able to accomplish with the show, especially over these past couple of months, but collectively for the last 9 years. And this is episode 468. We are 32 away from reaching our ultimate goal, which is episode 500. As of right now, episode 500 will be the final episode of the podcast, but things can change. I'm not going to get anybody's hopes up yet, but seeing how the rest of this year goes by and this countdown continues for these next 6 months, it's not only John Cena who's going to have a retirement from wrestling, but this podcast might be going away in the beginning of 2026. But nothing set in stone yet. I can have a change of heart. I know in my heart that I just don't want this thing to be overstaying its welcome, but we have been making a lot more progress as a show collectively over the past couple of months, and I can't deny that. And I see that the interest is still there, and it means the world to me. So first and foremost, I want to say thank you to each and every single one of you who still rock with us each and every single week. And I try my best to make sure that each of these episodes are better than the last. And regardless of how your stance is and how your outlook is on professional wrestling, if you're that wrestling fan that only cares about booking and you think you're the smartest person in the room, or you're the wrestling fan that just wants to have fun with it because it's a mental escape for you, or you're a wrestling fan because you're passionate about it and it's something that you want to do with your career, whatever part of the spectrum you are in this echo chamber of wrestling content creation, I want to thank you for giving this show a chance and understanding that with this show, with my work in my career, that I can provide a different perspective that you're not getting from anywhere else. This is not the Coach and Bro show. I'm not doing this show for clout. I'm not doing this stuff to have myself be blurred out on the dirt sheets. This is a not-filtered show, and I'm not afraid to call out things that need to be called out. And that's what we're going to be doing in this opening monologue this week. Don't you worry, we'll have a lot more wrestling discussion to get to, of course, which includes Money in the Bank and Worlds Collide previews, as those events are taking place on Saturday. Saturday's going to be a very long day. But if the announcement has not dropped yet, it should be coming out either today or tomorrow. But I am starting a new project with my buddy Steve Newhausen. My man, he's the guy that got my start in the wrestling media content space. He's the guy that gave me my first shot at writing articles back in 2014. And we're going to be joining forces, and we're going to be doing a podcast every week. I think it's going to drop on Thursdays, and then we'll be doing like corresponding like post-game shows for like PLEs. So I don't think we're going to be doing it for the live TV shows, but we're going to try our best to pump out some good content. We don't have a name for the podcast yet, but it's going to be an association with the Hoots Podcast and Steve's show called Walkway to Fight Club. And this is something that I've been wanting to do with Steve for a while, and I'm glad that the stars have aligned here. And, I miss that dynamic of, like, feeding off another person while talking about wrestling. And we have two different perspectives with our career and what we do. Steve has a lot of credibility. He's had a lot of experience working for a lot of different platforms like The Zone, Yahoo, Sporting News, et cetera, et cetera. Like, Steve has run the gamut when it comes to content creation, not only in wrestling, but also in MMA and boxing. And he's like a reporter. Like, that's his job. That's what he does. Like, I have a different perspective as I'm somebody who's like live transcriptionist. I'm a play-by-play results writer, but I'm also a podcaster. So we have two different perspectives. We're going to bring something different to the table here. Not like that show that used to be on the WWE Network back in the day, but we are going to bring something different to the table, and I'm excited for this project. As I'm talking about plugs and everything, I want to give a shout out to our new home, Odyssey Creator Labs. Things are already working out. I like what I'm seeing so far, and like I was saying earlier, I know right now, if you ask me, yes, episode 500 will be the final episode of this particular podcast. But again, I can't deny the momentum we've been getting for the past couple of months. I just can't put a blind eye to that. So I'm keeping my options open. It's not a closed deal yet that 500 will be it, but we'll see how it goes for the rest of the year. We'll also have your questions for this week's edition of the Back Porch Q&A session. I'll post this question to you guys too before we get to the monologue and this week's WWE and all that stuff. And anytime you listen to the podcast, you can hit us up in the comment section down below. Like, for example, I'd love to see your guys' predictions or theories for Money in the Bank and Worlds Collide. You can do that on the YouTube end. You can hit me up on social media throughout the weekend. And I'll love to get your guys' thoughts on the podcast from there as well at the Hoots Podcast. And again, I just want to thank Odyssey Creator Lab for hosting us for our new RSS feed and everything. And it's been working out very well. I love the new platform, and it's a way, way better experience so far than Spotify for creators. So big shout out to Odyssey Creator Labs. Anyways, let's continue on here. I don't want to make this podcast too long this week. Look, I'm not going to avoid the elephant in the room or what everybody's been talking about this week with the release of R-Truth. More like his contract not being renewed. I mean, if you look at this past week on social media, you would think that R-Truth died this week. Like, I don't know about you guys, like, for just like a regular wrestling fan that doesn't have a podcast that's listening to this right now, or even if you are like a content creator like me, right? Are you kind of like at your wits' end of like waking up the next day and thinking that the sky is falling for some story? And it's like, I hate being put in this position where I'm coming off as insensitive because I never want to see people lose their jobs. I've become numb to the things that the IWC deems as end-of-the-world scenarios and things that we need to go on morally correct rants about and all this stuff that you get with the echo chamber every day in the IWC. Like, I'm so past this stuff that is so much wasted energy, and also understanding that business is business and it's not personal for me. I don't know, maybe I would have the same perspective of you guys, and I would come out here and I'd be more paranoid and insecure and like, oh my God, things are going drastically wrong for Monday Night Raw because, even though they're still in the top 10 of rankings on Netflix, they're struggling. Like, take a step back and listen to what I just said right there. You have reports out there about Meltzer and Brandon Gerson arguing about numbers about Monday Night Raw, and people are telling you that Raw is struggling because, wait for it. Raw is still in the top 10 of weekly shows on Netflix? That's a problem? I want to have a practical conversation with you guys here for the monologue too. Like, I'm not going to come on here and scream and do this hootering and hollering, because it's really, at the end of it, it's wasted energy. But I have to call things out that need to be called out, because, like, I mentioned this before when we first started this podcast, and it's really a sad way to assess what's really going on with the wrestling media in 2025 compared to when we started the show back in 2016. And the fact that the echo chamber has not changed. And I feel bad about that. I felt in a lot of ways like this podcast would be something that could bring more positivity and like levity to the situation. In fact, I think, looking back now from my experience in this field, I think that the wrestling media realm and the echo chamber of the IWC is way more paranoid, way more insecure, and way more engaging in practices of having takes with no substance and nuance to it than it ever was when I first started this show back in 2016. Or even that, when I first even started getting into broadcasting back in 2013 when I was going to college at the Illinois Media School. What really grinds my gears about what I'm seeing right now is a lot of these reports are fueled in the way to get you upset and rage, and there's really no substance to it. The way things are written in these reports, I'm using air quotes as I'm saying reports to you, even the stuff that you see reported from Fightful or The Observer, etc., especially for people that do video podcasts. All of it is in the way of marketing to the lowest common denominator of this audience that's so insecure that they'll fall for every bait that's thrown their way, whether that report is true, whether that report is full of shit, regardless of what the spectrum is. It's so marketed and just pumped out in a way that for you, the consumer of wrestling, is like, okay, I read this surface level report and caption on the article that I see posted on Twitter or Facebook, etc. I read this, and then I'm supposed to believe it's the gospel. You can take a quote out of context from a podcast interview, and that could be a source of discussion amongst the space for multiple days, because the person that transcribed the interview has an agenda behind it and cherry picking things, point out, and then they come up with this headline that'll make you click onto the art. Look, you're hearing this from a guy who works for a website that does have rumor and innuendo pieces and stuff like that. I know you guys could look at me like, well, wait a minute, Josh, you work on a Dirt Sheet website. Yes, I do. I write play-by-play articles, but nobody in this world can tell me that I've ever come on here or my transcripts with the agenda to do something to make you rage about something with professional wrestling just based on my opinion. I mean, if you want to look at what the hell is wrong with AEW segment, we didn't do that segment to pump our agenda against AEW. All it really was is a copy bit to point out the hyperbole and the over-glazing that comes with every AEW show. I mean, really, at the end of the day, that's really what that segment was in a nutshell. I didn't go into those segments and everything oh yeah, we really got them. That's not why we did it. my overall thing, ever since we started this podcast back in 2016, was to remind you guys to have fun and, most importantly, think for yourself. At the end of the day, I want you guys to enjoy wrestling because it's there for you as a mental escape, and we should be allowed to have our opinions, whatever the spectrum is. If you're that person that's glass half empty, more power to you. Or if you're like somebody like me that's glass half full and sees a bigger picture, more power to you. What I don't want to see is people getting into space, trying to get clout over things that they don't generally feel. Because that's not helping you grow and having people take you seriously for the work that you put out there. And it's not doing anything to help people enjoy professional wrestling. There's far too many people in the space that pump out content, whether it's video or audio or written form, that put out things to get people raging towards certain companies. And you know who they are, and you know what sites they work for, and I don't even have to say their names, you know who they are. So as many of the State of WWE address podcasts that I've heard this week, or posts on X, there is an agenda for the echo chamber of the IWC because they didn't get the main event of WrestleMania that they wanted this year. They have an agenda towards Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. They add that baggage onto Triple H. So anything else is adding onto it because the IWC got their feelings hurt in Vegas during Easter this year. They're having all guns blazing towards WWE now. And it's blatantly obvious. I'm not going to come in here and have a debate with you where you think that the current landscape of the product is in a good spot compared to where it was following last year's WrestleMania. That's not the point of this. Like, I'm pointing out there's an agenda going on here. And then with the stuff that is just like, for example, the R-Truth stuff. Yes, I was bummed out to hear that he got released. It sucks. I thought he was going to be a WWE lifer. I get it. But maybe I'm just too rational and understanding that, you know, businesses are businesses, and, you know, we should rage and express our frustrations when it needs to be, but, like, you would thought that R-Truth got just unceremoniously got, like, let go, like, tossed inside, like, garbage, or, like, that whole situation with Mickey James and Mark Carrano a couple years ago, and they sent, like, a garbage bag to her house of her stuff. Like, you would thought that, oh, Triple H, this is one of the funniest things I saw on X, because how ridiculous it was the other day. I saw somebody post that Triple H released R-Truth because MVP called Triple H a racist in an interview that he did last week. And the person had a blue check mark too, which is another thing. All I ever want for professional wrestling is for, obviously, we want the product to be awesome. We want it to be great. We want it to be on the biggest level ever. Can we say that these could be better? Absolutely. What I'm really getting sick and tired of is the agenda and the narrative pushing that I keep seeing on these platforms each and every single week, regardless of whether it's a news site, a podcast, or a video show. I'm tired of the agendas. I'm tired of the inauthenticity that's in this space. And I'm really getting tired of the clout chasers that are coming out here, spewing off their gums and just spewing out rhetoric just to get people more pissed off about professional wrestling. It's not doing the industry any favors. It's not doing the fans any favors. This is not I'm not doing this monologue in a, you only have to talk about the things that you like about professional wrestling, and that's it. If you have your opinions of stuff you didn't like and you have constructive criticism, criticism, go knock your socks off. I really don't give a shit. That's not what I'm talking about. My issue is the stupid rumor and innuendo nonsense that I have to see every day that's just adding things to pile onto a narrative that has no substance to it at the end of the day. And then the surface level shit that we see on here every single week that everybody whines and complains about, like, you still go to corporations that let people go and fire them for the minuscule of reasons, but people go to Target, people go to a JCPenney, people go to fast food restaurants. You know, only because it's WWE that's the established brand. Oh, they're always morally incorrect on things and how they treat their employees and their fans, right? While you're still going to an AMC where they probably furloughed somebody because of budget cuts. But it's only WWE, right? Only WWE only fires people, right? So, like, I'm trying to figure out what the end game here is. Is the echo chamber only like, okay, here we go, we have our wrestling shows, and the rest of the week, here's 6 full days of shit for you guys to bitch and moan and complain about so we can get money out of it. Because if that's the end game, then why the hell are we doing this? I'm gonna come on here and put an act on, and I'm gonna come on here and be a sack of shit just so you can give me super stickers and all this other stuff. And then you have these ex-personalities for people that were actually in the industry, like Vince Russo and Jonathan Coachman. Oh, they have a show on Stadium, and every other day I have to see an article from those two, and even then they had to reduce themselves to the level of the Dave Meltzers of the world and etc., where they are now spewing off rumor, innuendo nonsense, so they could get likes and retweets and subscribers and super stickers and donations. And it's like, you guys are hypocrites. You guys you're popping off with disingenuous takes in order to get money for people, but you are the same people who are going to get on your moral high horse about, oh, how can WWE fire people for budget cuts? What? It's business. What's your business? Conducting yourself like a jackass so you can get money too? If anything, that's canceling each other out. If we were to do a comparison thing, yeah, it's like I don't get it. Like, I observed this stuff from afar. I don't like engaging in this type of content because that's not why I did this podcast in the first place. But it's like nobody has the gumption to call this stuff out. Every single day we have some new bombshell thing. Oh, Triple H and The Rock are ahead. Oh, they hate each other. Oh man, I don't know, guys. It's frustrating. It really is because, yeah. Look, if you feel like your state, you want to have a state of WWE address because everybody and their mother is doing it because it's the in thing to do now to pile on WWE because you didn't get what you wanted at WrestleMania. Which is also funny because those same people that are bitching about The Rock and the IWC were the same people be like, oh, we don't need The Rock to build WrestleMania. We don't need The Rock in WrestleMania. Oh, The Rock ruins everything. Oh, The Rock this. Oh, The Rock that. What do you mean it's The Rock? And then he doesn't show up at WrestleMania this year. And you're like, oh, how can you have the main event of WrestleMania and this big heel turn without The Rock being there? Meanwhile, the whole point of the main event of WrestleMania this year was John Cena's last WrestleMania main event. Like, all you guys are concerned about The Rock, the same person that you claim that you hate. Makes no sense. I'm not going to come on here and debate you whether you think that 3 hours of SmackDown is too long, or you don't think Raw is having the momentum that they need on Netflix, even though they're still ranked in the top 10 of Netflix every single week. Do you know how big Netflix is? The fact that wrestling is still in the top 10 with all the shit that they put out there on Netflix every single week? Yeah, do your state of WWE address, because you're just saying the same stuff that everybody else is saying on X, because that's the thing to do. Do they believe what they're saying, or do they just spew it off at the mouth because, oh yeah, this is how I fit in. This is how I fit in. Yeah. I don't know. I'm sorry that I don't lose my composure on the entire wrestling industry when I understand that business is business, and if our truth contract is not going to be renewed, it's not going to be renewed. It's not like WWE is going to go out of business because our truth and Carlito got released this week. Like, I'm not going to engage in wasted energy debates about SmackDown being too long and yada yada yada. What does that matter? Do you enjoy the show or not? And if your only talking points is based off stuff that Dave Meltzer reports, you're doing yourself a disservice. Or if your only talking points is because, oh, I heard this on WrestleMania and Ringside News. At the end of the day, you guys, you do you. Like, I don't get it at this point. Like, I feel like I heard a video podcast this week saying that WWE has lost the point. No, actually, the wrestling fans and the IWC have lost the plot at this point, because what are you watching it for? Are you watching it to make yourself feel good, to get your likes and retweets and be a cloud chaser? Or are you watching it because you're a genuine fan and you want to enjoy this stuff? Like, that's the stuff that I don't understand of why we consume this stuff every week. It's different for me. I watch wrestling now because it's my job. It's my work. I don't look at it as a fan anymore. I'm not living and dying by the results of the matches. You know, I'm not going to come in here and rage about Monday Night Raw because CM Punk lost to El Grande Americano on Raw this week. CM Punk's my favorite wrestler. Are you going to see me throw a hissy fit because Punk did not qualify for Money in the Bank this week? Like, I don't get it. Anyways, when we come back, we'll get into this week WWE. We'll go straight into our preview predictions for Money in the Bank and Worlds Collide, and then we'll get into your questions for the Back Porch Q&A session right here on episode 468 of the Hoots Podcast. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the Hoots Podcast, everybody. Time to talk about what happened this week in WWE. No recaps for Raw or SmackDown this week. I just want to make it simple and do our preview predictions for Worlds Collide and Money in the Bank, which is taking place this weekend in Los Angeles. Very cool to have two pay-per-views to do on the same day. That's going to be a nice ROI day for your boy, to be honest. No, man, like, you guys know the deal. Like, I had a whole furlough thing a couple years ago, so to be back in the groove of things and having more shows to do, being more busy, like, I'm really excited about this. I really am. And this new project that I'm doing with Steve, we're going to be doing a live post show after Money in the Bank, and that's going to be fun. And I'm looking to do more work, you know? Like, I'm being more busy. Things are picking up in the wrestling space during the summertime. July will be busy as well. So is August with SummerSlam being 2 nights, and they got that Clash in Paris show. So August is going to be a good month for me, money-wise as well. Like, I'm in really good spirits. There's a lot of stuff to look forward to, and getting closer and closer to my goals. So taking this one show at a time. I already did Raw, NXT, and Evolve this week. Congratulations to Jackson Drake becoming the first ever Evolve men's champion. Great match with Shawn Legacy, Cal Carver, and Idris Nofe last night on Evolve. Trick Williams and Mike Santana was the main event on NXT this week for the TNA World Title. Before I get into the predictions and stuff, I'd be remiss without talking about Mariah May. Mariah May made her WWE debut on NXT on Tuesday night. She'll be on the NXT roster, which I think is the right place for her to start these off. And for a while, I didn't get the opportunity to cover AEW because they had people on the site covering the show, so I missed out on Mariah May being on my radar of covering matches. So this is my first time getting to cover her work. So I'm pretty excited about this. I'm a big fan of her. I've watched her work from a distance, obviously. She's amazing to look at, obviously, but her promo stuff is really good in AEW. Her feud with Tony Storm is really good as well, and she's the total package. And I think she's exactly what NXT is, and what NXT needs, and she's a big time player. She really is. So seeing the look on her face when she popped up on that podium at the Performance Center on Tuesday. It was pretty cool, so congratulations on Mariah May signing with WWE. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. But I do have 2 transcripts to make this week. This Saturday we have Worlds Collide, which is going to be a venture with WWE, NXT, and AAA from Mexico, who's now under the WWE TKO banner. And I don't know who's calling the show yet. I think it might be Vic Joseph and Corey Grace. I could be wrong. But this show is going to be taking place on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, which will be 2 p.m. Central here in Chicago. And this event is going to be streamed live on YouTube. So it's going to be a little different experience for me on Saturday, because right as Worlds Collide is over, I have to get ready for Money in the Bank, because Money in the Bank is going to start at 6. So I don't know, I might have 45 minutes to myself on Saturday. But it's going to be worth it. Worlds Collide is going to be taking place in the fabulous Kia Forum in Inglewood, California. This is a big event. I think this is the first televised event that I would get to cover out of the forum, which is pretty cool to think about. And we have 5 matches announced for this program. Let me get to that right now. We have Legado del Fantasma taking on El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr., Pagano, and Cycloclown in the 6-man tag. Tension's big rising with Legado del Fantasma. I think Dr. Wagner, Pagano, and Cycloclown beat Legado, and Berto and Angel turn on Santos Escobar and Joy Force with Andrade. We have a tag match for the ladies. We got Stephanie Vancouver and Lola Vice taking on Chick Tormenta and Dalise. Stephanie and Lola should get the victory in that one. LWO's Dragon Lee and Cruz del Toro and Lindsay Dorado will be taking on Octagon Jr., Mr. Iguana, and Aerostar in the trios match. That's going to be a good one as well. Aerostar, man, it brings me back some good memories from my time covering Lucha Underground, so it's going to be nice to see him on the show. Hate to hear about Joaquin Wilde getting injured during the taping of WWE Speed before Monday Night Raw this past week, so Joaquin Wilde had to be replaced in this match, so we had to returning Lindsay Dorado in the scene, so that's pretty cool. The semi-main event for this show is going to be Ethan Page putting his NXT North American Championship on the line against Rey Fenix, Javon Evans, and Laredo Kid. This match could steal the weekend. This match is going to be insane. If I have my druthers here, I think that Javon Evans is going to become your NXT North American Champion. I'm going to go with the upset here. I think Ethan Page has a short run and he goes up to the main roster. So I'm going to go with Javon Evans to win that one. And then the main event, El Hijo del Vikingo against Chad Gable for the Mega Championship. This match is going to be insane. If you guys have never seen Vikingo wrestle before, this guy is the real deal. I remember covering some matches and stuff on MLW. I think he had a little bit of a TNA as well, if I'm not mistaken. I covered Vikingo's matches on there as well. We all know how great Chad Gable is, so Vikingo and Gable, that's going to be one of those clinics, one of those bar burners of the year. And honestly, this is a toss-up. I would not be surprised if Chad Gable beats Vikingo. This would be a big moment for AAA, a big spotlight for them. I think it's kind of cool that they're doing this event on YouTube as a live event, and I'm curious to see how it plays out. But that's the card for Worlds Collide taking place on Saturday at the Kia Forum during the day. You can watch that event on YouTube, and then following that, we got Money in the Bank, which will be on Peacock at 6 p.m. Central Time. Set it out in the East Coast, and you can live anywhere else. Figure it out for yourself. Alright, here's the matches for Money in the Bank. That's announced as of now. If there's any addition to Money in the Bank this year, I think it will be either Damian Priest against Jacob Fatu for the United States Championship, or another multi-person tag match for the WWE Tag Team titles. But we'll have to see how that plays out on SmackDown on USA Network tomorrow. By the way, I'm so glad that the IWC is bad that SmackDown's not going back to 2 hours. More from Joshie. Like, y'all can complain, like, I'll take 3 hours SmackDowns every week. This is work for me, Moose. Anyways, let's go to Money in the Bank. Last chance match for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. I'm really excited for this one. Lyra Valkyria putting her Women's Intercontinental Championship on the line against Becky Lynch. If Becky loses, she can no longer challenge the title for as long as Lyra is champion. If Lyra loses, she'll be forced to raise Becky Lynch's hand and acknowledge as Becky is the better wrestler and woman. I've really enjoyed this feud with these two ladies. They bring out the best out of each other. Lyra's promos, as I've been saying for weeks now, especially following their match at Backlash, which was fantastic. This has been one of the better rivalries of the year so far for the ladies, and I don't think this match should be any exception here. I have Lyra Valkyria retaining over Becky Lynch with help from a returning Bayley, and that could be a kickoff to one of those first feuds going into WWE Evolution, which is Becky Lynch against Bayley. So mark it here, Lyra Valkyria retains over Becky Lynch. From there, we have the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, as we have Stephanie Vancouver taking on Rhea Ripley, Julia, Roxanne Perez, Alexa Bliss, and Naomi. A very, very stacked field for the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. All 6 of these ladies can be worthy of women's world titles, WWE women's championships, IC, US women's titles. Like, you have 6 of the creme of the creme of the women's division from both Raw and SmackDown here. This one's gonna be insane. This one's really a toss-up. I have no idea who's winning this match, but if I had to, I think for me, if I have to pick as a fan, I'd probably go with Stephanie Vancouver. But where I'm seeing things right now, and what I think might happen, just my educated guess, I'm going to go with Naomi to win the Money in the Bank ladder match. But there's going to be some crazy spots. I'm curious to see the crowd dynamic in this match as well. This could be a coming out party for someone like Roxanne Perez. Always great to see Alexa Bliss. She always does a good job in these Money in the Bank ladder matches. She's a former winner. I actually saw Alexa Bliss win the Money in the Bank in Chicago in 2018. So for the women's Money in the Bank, I'm going with Naomi, but I would love to see Stephanie win as well. For the dudes, we have Solo Sikoa taking on LA Knight. Penta, Seth Rollins, Andrade, and El Grande El Americano for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. This is a two-way street here for me. My gut tells me that it's going to be Seth Rollins, but the fan of me would like to see LA Knight win the Money in the Bank. I think he's overdue for this opportunity, and I think LA Knight, that's a toss-up too. I mean, we can have a scenario, maybe El Grande Americano gets taken out before the match, and maybe CM Punk comes in there and replaces him. There's a lot of options here, but there's going to be shenanigans. If Seth Rollins does not win Money in the Bank, it'll be because either CM Punk or Roman Reigns cost him the briefcase. If Seth Rollins does win, he's going to be your new World Heavyweight Champion by the end of Monday Night Raw this Monday in Phoenix, Arizona. So we got a lot of options. I know some people on podcasts, especially busting open, because Dave LeBreckin just can't admit to himself that he has an agenda towards Seth Rollins. They have it out for that group. I don't. I'm loving what I've seen for this Seth Rollins Paul Heyman faction so far, and if the plan is for Seth Rollins to be the World Heavyweight Champion, I think it's in due time for him to become that. So I'll go with either LA Knight or Seth Rollins. So either way, that should be fun, especially with Penta in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Him and Andrade are going to go through a ladder bridge. That's definitely going to happen. But the main event for Money in the Bank this year is John Cena and Logan Paul taking on Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. This is a grudge match speared off of different world title feuds. As I mentioned before on the podcast, I do believe we'll get John Cena and Cody Rhodes Part 2 at SummerSlam this year. I think that Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso are going to beat John Cena and Logan Paul. I think Logan's ego will get in the way. It'll cost John Cena a loss, and that way you get momentum into Cody and John Cena Part 2 at MetLife Stadium on August 2nd, I believe, that they're having SummerSlam out there in New Jersey. But that should be a fun match for the crowd. Jey Uso is getting the crowd going. Logan Paul and John Cena, Maxwell since they're both heels. This is going to be a fun match, but I do think Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso beat John Cena and Logan Paul. And I wouldn't be surprised if Cody gets the pin on Cena on this show, to be honest with you. So that is Money in the Bank, and that's my predictions for both Worlds Collide and Money in the Bank. As always, make sure to check out my coverage of all televised WWE events on the results section of WrestlingHeadlines.com. Also, don't forget to check out the podcast. It comes to you free of charge anywhere you get your podcast from. Every single Fridays on our Odyssey tab. Odyssey Podcast is the home for the Hoots Podcast now. But you can still get it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, you can still get it there. So I appreciate the support, everybody. But on that note, when we come back, we'll get to your questions for this week's edition of the Back Porch Q&A session right here on episode 468 of the Hoots Podcast. We'll be right back. Yeet. Alright guys, one more segment to do here on the podcast at Hoots. Time to answer your questions for this week's edition of the Back Porch Q&A session right here on episode 468 of the Hoots Podcast. So let's do it, ladies and gentlemen. As always, if you want to participate in the Back Porch Q&A session, all you have to do is send it to the Hoots Podcast or the Hoots Podcast at gmail.com. Let's do it. Let's drop the X for the good brother Chris Saletta and X equals Saletta 24X on the Twitter machine. He says, what up, Moose? Here's some questions for the Q&A this week. Your thoughts on Mariah May's debut. Shucky Ducky Quack Quack, big time star, and I love it. Who wins the NBA Finals? I'm going to go with the Oklahoma City Thunder in 6. Your favorite R-Truth moments? Little Jimmy, when he made Brock Lesnar pop and break character before the Royal Rumble in 2020. R-Truth and the Judgment Day, there's a bunch to go on. Any interest in attending Fanatics Fest, New York City in the future? Sure. I mean, I've never really been a big like convention type of guy. Maybe it's because I just didn't have a lot of opportunities to go to these type of events, but sure. I mean, honestly, I would rather work one of those events than attend it as a fan, to be honest with you. So that's my opinion. What do you think of Elena Black's Elena Black's interview with Ariel Helwani? I thought it was great. A lot of vulnerability for her to express that medical issue, scare that she had. A lot of courage for her to speak up like that. She didn't owe us an explanation for that, but she has a good heart to her. I'm always going to root for Elena because of the fact that she's a Chicago girl. I just vibe with her spirit and her energy, and I thought it was a good interview. She carried herself a good way. She was respectful towards WWE despite being released, and she's not being like everybody that's like, oh, I'm stuck in prison and blah 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 blah. Like, no, like she had a level head to it. I don't think it'll be very long until she does come back to WWE. Like, she's gonna explore. She's gonna do a lot of good things in a lot of these different promotions now that she's on her own journey. But at the end of the day, I'm a big fan of Elena Black, and I'm always going to be. Who will be JC's first challenger? That is going to be Jordan Grace. Which match are you looking forward to most for Worlds Collide? I'm going to go with the Vikingo and Chad Gable match. But also the 4-way for the North American Championship should be pretty good. Who wins the briefcase in the Money in the Bank matches? I'm going with LA Knight and Naomi, or Seth Rollins and Stephanie Becker. Do you think Josh Briggs and Jensen get back together and possibly Yoshiki Inamura, Jordan Spears and company? I'm going to say no. I don't think that's going to happen. And lastly, he says, what do you think of my Evolution 2 cards? Let's take a look at it. Let me do it as an excrement impression. Oh yeah, live from the State Farm Arena, we have the second edition of WWE Evolution. Here's your matches first. An I Quit match featuring Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, and Bayley. Next, a women's steel cage match with Jade Cargill taking on Naomi. Hold up. I think I got this mixed up. I'm sorry. We have a triple threat match with Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Becky. No, we have a fatal 4-way. Chris, you gotta check out your writing, man. He says Charlotte Flair against Alexa Bliss, Becky, and Bayley. 4-way match, no problem with that. I Quit, Jade Cargill and Naomi. Not bad. Not bad. U.S. cage match, Kenzie Page against Chelsea Green. No, I don't. I'm sorry, Chris. I don't think the NWA is going to be represented on this show, unfortunately. Liv Raquel against Bellas, against Beach and B-Fab, against Trish and Lita. Not too bad. Masha against Tessa versus Danny for Jack's Fatal 4-Way Knockouts title. No. Yeah, you know how it is with these PLEs, Chris. I don't think they're going to scram. I don't think they're going to cram TNA and NWA titles into this card. I mean, I'm lucky that I even squeezed in 10 matches just from stuff from WWE stuff, let alone TNA or anything like that. It says Lyra and Roxanne for IC title, no problem with that. Tiffany, Bianca, Julia, Jordan Grace, like I said, yep, for the women's title. Rhea against Stephanie Vancouver and Io, yep. Jason Jade and Will Vice for the NXT women's title, yep. Soruka, Kalani, Jordan, Jada Parker, Zarya, and Lash Legend for the women's North American title. Yep, no problem with that either. I like your card, Chris. Like I just said, the only difference is I don't think they're going to put the NWA titles. Unless it was something where they have a Battle Royal or something, I don't think you're going to see, like, Masha Slamovich and Rosemary and Kenzie Page and God knows who else. Gail Kim is not going to be on this card, unfortunately. But good questions, brother. I appreciate it. What up, Moose? Here's some questions. Happy June to you, and I hope the month is starting off well for you. It is. I appreciate that. Here's some questions for the back Porch this week. Shout out to the good brother Mike Rubio at Main Event Swerve. Let's see what Mike has for us this week. The IWC seems to say that the men's Money in the Bank is worse than the women's field competitors. Do you agree? Subjective. I'm looking forward to both matches, so I'm going to say disagree on that one. Who will be the standout or individual with surprise moment in the men's and women's Money in the Bank matches? I think Penta will stand out for the guys, obviously. I think this could be a good performance for, like I said, Roxanne Perez or Julia in this women's Money in the Bank ladder match. I mean, Alexa Bliss and Rhea Ripley and Naomi are already established. I don't think there's any breakout to say about them. Supposedly Triple H is not a fan of the Money in the Bank concept at this point. Do you think he gets eliminated by next year, and would you? No. I know that they announced Money in the Bank next year for New Orleans in August. So, I mean, that's his opinion. I mean, Triple H, just because he's not a fan of it doesn't mean he doesn't see the business that comes from that PLE specifically. That's why they kept going on with this PLE for all these years. So there's a certain history and lineage that comes with Money in the Bank, and even though maybe he's not 100%, and again that's a rumor and innuendo thing. That's not 100% concrete fact that he hates Money in the Bank. And by the way, for all the clout chasers in the IWC that were approved for media credentials for Money in the Bank this weekend, I love y'all to show up with some balls and put your money where your mouth is. For anybody that's covering Money in the Bank in LA this weekend, you have Triple H right in front of you. Ask him the questions that you want to ask. What do you think of Michael Cole making good on his bet in enemy territory and wearing the jersey of Indiana Pacers legend T.J. McConnell on Raw? I thought it was fantastic. It was hilarious. I loved it. Cole got some smallness there, man. He's got the guns going. I appreciate that. Which show would you rather keep at 3 hours if you can only pick one, Raw or SmackDown? I'm going to go with SmackDown because that's my guaranteed money right now, so I have to go with SmackDown just for money reasons. I just saw that Roxanne Perez is being stalked and her address was doxed online. What can be done to create or strengthen boundaries for crazy fans? I don't know. It's a really shame that shit like that happens. It's unacceptable. It's not cool. I don't know how many security guards WWE would have to hire for in-person security for these female talents and have security for them at airports and stuff like that. I don't know what goes into that and how to map that out, but hopefully they can find a solution to that because I hate hearing stuff like that, and that stuff's just not acceptable. So whoever the sack of shit decided to do that is a piece of shit. So I hope he gets his justice, and his punishment should be swift and disturbed. So let's continue on here. What do you think of Evolve Women's Champion Callie Armstrong? Will she be moving up to NXT sooner than later? Do you like her better involved? I like Callie Armstrong for what I've seen so far in her matches. She's still very young to the business, and she's going to need some more time. She just became the champion, so I don't see her winning the title anytime soon. I don't see her going up to NXT anytime soon. Maybe you have a one-off match here and there, but as far as her being a regular on the roster, yeah, that's going to take a little while. I'd probably say maybe in 2026, maybe, to be honest with you. JC Jane says she's not a transitional champion. Who's most likely to take the title next and when? Are really gifting the title to Mariah May that easily? Well, we'll have to see how that happens. If it's something where Mariah May takes on JC Jane at NXT Great American Bash on July 12th, then that's what's going to happen, you know. I mean, I mean, on the surface, this is going to be a transitional champion situation in general because of the fact of the issues that JC and Fountain Henley have with each other bubbling on the surface. Those two are two egomaniacs, character-wise, so they're going to cancel each other out. And Mariah May is not exclusive to JCJ being a transitional champion. She's a transitional champion because Fallon Henley's ego is too big, and that's going to cause a split of fatal influence, basically, is what I'm getting at. Now that we know that R-Truth isn't being renewed, what is your favorite Truth moment over the years? Also, will Ron Cena be a Hall of Famer in a few years? Yes, he will be a Hall of Famer. Like I said to Chris, like, the little Jimmy stuff, I love the stuff that he did in Judgment Day, him making Brock Lesnar laugh, him popping up in the Royal Rumble, stuff that he did, like he said that he had acrophobia or something when it came to money to make ladders and stuff like that. That stuff was hilarious. Or calling Triple H Tommaso Ciampa. Of course, he remiss without his work with Carmella, obviously, for all the stuff they did for that 24/7 championship. But, yeah, I think R-Truth will be a Hall of Famer, no doubt. Speaking of John Cena, are you interested in watching John Cena in an upcoming Prime Video movie playing the president? Yeah, I mean, I've been, it's interesting with John Cena, like a lot of his movies have been straight to like Amazon as of late, more than theater stuff. Like I saw Ricky Sneaky, which is a great movie that he was in. That was on Amazon directly and exclusive. So yeah, I wouldn't mind checking this out. Elena Black said that she was told she wouldn't be a champion when joining WWE because she didn't look like she could crack an egg. Are they crazy? What do you think of Cora Jade at first? What did I think of Cora Jade at first? Well, trying to be respectful here, but the first thing that came to my head when I saw her was that she was fucking hot. So I'll be honest with you, like the first time I saw her, I was like, that's the sexiest woman I've ever seen. But besides that, I think she's great in the ring. She's good on the microphone. She don't take shit from anybody, and I even putting looks to the side, I just think that she has all the potential in the world for her. So the world's her oyster, if you know what I mean. But whoever producer told her that she didn't look like she could crack an egg, that's probably something like Terry Taylor would say something like that. I don't see Shawn Michaels saying that to Elena Black. Tyler's Tony Storm said, I am the first Tony Storm professional. I said, what does that mean exactly? Also, if not Tony, who is the biggest whiff of myths for WWE that actually seem to do better in AEW? Tony Storm is, she's perfect for AEW because she loves to buy into her own shit and play the victim card. Like, she was so treated disrespectfully in WWE. Like, I like Tony Storm as her character and what she does as timeless and stuff like that, but like her interviews, it's just like, woe is me, dirt sheet this, feel sorry for me, creative this. Like, you're on top of the world for AEW and you're still talking about stuff that happened in WWE as if you were buried there. Like, stop. I don't know if I would call it a myth or a miss, but obviously FTR have had a better run in AEW than they've had in WWE. Swerve Strickland, even though I put a big asterisk towards his run in AEW because Will Washington, his cousin, is in the creative team. So as much as Swerve is popular with the crowd, I think a lot of that has to do with Prince Nana and that freaking dance he does, and also the fact that Will Washington is part of the creative team. So as much as I have a lot of respect for Swerve Strickland as a wrestler, I don't buy into the side because there's a lot of asterisks to it. You know, like he likes to play the card that he's an underdog, but he literally has his family being Tony Khan's right-hand bitch. So that's my opinion on it. So Ruka was rated the top used female wrestler in WWE 2K25. Does that surprise you, especially with so many Raw and SmackDown to choose from? No, I'm not surprised. She's got a dumb finisher, so you have a lot of people that play video games like that. They probably think that Soul Ruka is like one of the funnest which wrestlers to play as on the video game. So I'm not surprised by that at all. She's going to have even more stock going to her when she does go to the main roster. She's fantastic. I'm not a dirt sheet guy, but I have to wonder what's going on. What do you make of the Miz and Gunther deleting all WWE-related tweets and posts this week? I don't know what's going on with that. I think that stuff is goofy. To be honest with you, I think it's corny when athletes are on teams and they're upset about their contract situations, that they decide to remove all things from the team because they're upset about their contract situation. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that solves, to be honest with you, Mike. But I think it's lame clout chasing things to do, to be honest with you. Anyways, the next question he says here, any takeaways from Complex Magazine's top 50 rappers of all time list? Would you put Andre 3000 and Future as your top second? Here we go. Complex Best Atlanta Rappers all time list. We got number 50, Lil Nas X. 49, Pee Wee Longway. 48, Sci-Hi the Prince. 47, Trouble. 46, Rich the Kid. 45, K-Camp. 44, Little Scrappy. 43, B.O.B. 42, OJ the Juice Man. Yay. 41, Roscoe Dash. 40, Sean Paul. 39, Cool Breeze. 38, Young Duty. 37, Rich Homie Quan. 36, Fabo. 35, Diamond. 34, Bankroll Fresh. 33, Charles Gambino. Gambino should be higher on this list. 32, Big Gip. 31, Lisa Left Eye Lopez. May she rest in peace. 30, Pastor Troy. Number 29, Young Dro. 29, Soldier Boy. 27, J.I.D. or Jid. 26, MC Shy D. 25, Lotto. Waterfall Game on another level. 24, Lil Yachty. 23, Waka Flocka Flame. 22, Shawty Low. 21, Kilo Ali. 20, Gunna. 19, Takeoff. Recipes Take. 18, Little John. Number 17, Jermaine Dupri. I don't know, do you consider Jermaine Dupri a rapper? Like, he's I hate to say this because what's going on with him, but Jermaine Dupri is like a Diddy in the rap space. Like, he's a great producer, though, but I would never consider Jermaine Dupri a great rapper, you know? CeeLo Green, Quavo comes in at 15, Killer Mike, underrated, Offset, 13. Playboy Cardi, never heard anything from Playboy Cardi before, so I can't give you an opinion on that. 21 Savage at 11. Number 10, Lil Baby. Number 9, 2 Chainz. Number 8, Big Boy. 7, Ludacris. Number 6, Young Thug. 5 is Jeezy. 3 is Gucci Mane. 2, T.I. Number 2, Future. And number 1, Andre 3000. Your question is, would I put Future and Andre 3000 at the top of the list? No. My top 5, if I have to do this correctly here on this list here. Number 1, I'm going with Ludacris. 2nd would be T.I. 3 would be Andre 3000. 4, Big Boy. And then number 5 would have to go to either, I don't know, Future or Future or Little John. That's how I would map this up. But that's a good question, Mike. I appreciate it. Meanwhile, Kendrick Lamar just surpassed the record for most weeks at number 1 for a rap song and now an R&B song in the Billboard charts. Is Kendrick entering GOAT territory in a way? Yes, I do believe that. I was at the gym the other day, and NFL Network asked, is this the year the Bears turn it around? Is it? I hope so. Brother, your hope is as big as mine. I would love to see the Bears win the Super Bowl. No, obviously I would love to see the Bears win the Super Bowl. Do I think they're going to turn it around? Yes, I do. I'm buying all stock into Ben Johnson. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. I do think they need another star player on the defensive side, whether that's a pass rusher or another corner. I do think the Bears need one more pass rusher if they're going to take things to the next level. Obviously, all this will be contingent on what happens with this offense and if Ben Johnson's the real deal and stuff like that. Obviously, we could all fall for the bill of goods type of stuff, but it's the Bears, so it's like more times than not, it's like what could go wrong will go wrong. But I think with the Bears, to answer your question, Mike, that's a good one. Do I think they turn it around this year? I do. Now, what does that mean? Do they win the division or do they win the Super Bowl? I have no idea. It's up in the air. But I will tell you this. I do think the Bears will compete for a playoff spot this year. I just don't know which one that is. That's the question. And it's still up in the air. I would love to see the Bears get Trey Hendrickson. I think that would really elevate their stock. And we'll see how that goes from there. But great questions, Mike, this week. Thank you to Chris and Mike for some awesome questions this week. As always, make sure to follow Chris on Twitter at XTeams1124X on the Twitter machine. And Mike is at Twitter at MainEventSwerve on Twitter. On that note, we're going to put a ring on the bow on this week's edition of the Hoots Podcast. Make sure to hit the like button and smash the subscribe button on YouTube as we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. And if we get to 1,000 subscribers, we'll become a partner on YouTube. So help us become a YouTube partner by subscribing to the podcast today, and we appreciate the support. Make sure to comment below on YouTube, by the way, your predictions for Money in the Bank and Worlds Collide coming up this Saturday in LA. Also, make sure to hit me up on Instagram if you like, at Joshie Lopez Music. New podcasts come to you free of charge every single Friday, anywhere you get your podcasts from. Our new podcast home is Odyssey. So make sure to check out the Hoots Podcast on Odyssey Podcast, and to type in the Hoots Podcast on Google, and it'll be easy to find it on a potpourri of different places to get your podcast. Make sure to stick to my social media accounts for the announcement for the new project that I'm doing with Steve Newhausen, my mentor in the wrestling space, and let you guys know that we are doing a live recap show to Money in the Bank following the PLE, and once I'm done with like all my nicks and necks stuff with the transcript after that PLE. But we'll be here to recap Money in the Bank for you live following the show on Saturday night. So I'm looking forward to starting this new adventure this week, and we're gonna have some fun with it. But I didn't know. I'm Joshie. This has been. Oh, also don't forget to. Follow along with my work, all televised WWE shows and PLE for both NXT and the main roster are the results section. I'll be covering both Worlds Collide and Money in the Bank this weekend. And on that note, we're going to put a ring on the bell on this week's edition of the podcast of Hoots. I'm Joshie. Remember, folks, be the authentic product that is yourself. And remember, nobody dictates and pays your life but yourself and the man upstairs. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Enjoy Money in the Bank and enjoy Worlds Collide. We'll be here next week to recap it right here on the Hoots Podcast. It's road to episode 500 now. It comes from 32 down to 31. See y'all next week for episode 469. Yeet!
Bye-bye, bitch.